I think the main obstacle of younger generations is that they are trying to find happiness. And happiness, you are not going to find happiness. Happiness is going to find you. Happiness is the road, not the destination. Uh, and how do you find it? Just keep grinding.
To overcome this obstacle of happiness, we're going to explore Victor's story and how he balances work and life through heat treating. Heat treating is a special process that transforms metal parts into the desired properties to be used in planes and cars. So let's jump right in. So, welcome to the Work Sucks, but I Like It podcast. Today I got Victor here on the other side. And believe it or not, I've actually never met Victor. I only met him on LinkedIn. And what I liked about his profile, I like following what he does, is he makes work look fun. And we're both share the same thing where we do pyrometry in the aerospace industry. And I'm going to let you know, pyrometry is tough. It's a 57-page document. It's technical. It's dense. It's boring. It'll put you to sleep. But man, when I watch Victor on LinkedIn, he's making it look fun. So here we go. Victor, welcome to the show.
Tony, thank you for inviting me.
No, awesome. So Victor, tell us how you got into heat treating. Like, how did you pick heat treating?
I didn't pick heat treatment. I kind of heat treatment picked me. My story with heat treatment started almost by accident, I would say, or at least that's how it felt. It felt at first. I come from a family with a strong connection with mining. So studying metallurgy felt like a natural path. My experience working in a mine made me realize I didn't want to spend my life underground. So then I discovered heat treating. The first time I had a load of parts coming out of the furnace, knowing that the properties depended on the precision of the process, kind of clicked me. It was metallurgy in action, making materials better, safer, stronger. It hooked me.
Victor, where did you pick up heat treating? Sorry, so you went to school for undergrad and
Yes,
metallurgy, perfect. And then how'd you get into heat treating? That's cool.
it was actually in my internship. Yeah, I was working first. My first internship was in mines. It sucked. Yeah, and then I realized it wasn't for me. But then, thanks to a mentor in college, I had the chance to go to aerospace company to continue my internship, and then I discovered planes. I loved it. Then I went to continue internships in a heat treat shop, and that's when I found my passion.
Cool. So this was aerospace heat treat. You jumped right in. This wasn't commercial heat treat group. This was aerospace.
It was first aerospace and then commercial heat treatment.
Oh, okay. All right. What were you doing at the commercial heat treat group?
At the commercial heat treat group, I was in charge of the metallurgical laboratory. Fun. I spent a lot of time in the metallurgical laboratory. Then I moved again to aerospace. When I finished college, I moved to an aerospace company called ITP, and I was a manufacturing engineer. And then I jumped into automotive industry. And then by chance, I was in charge suddenly of heat treat operations. CQI9, yeah, I had 8 continuous furnaces, carburizing continuous furnaces. So whenever something is stuck in there, it's a nightmare, especially for the laboratory, because we have to check everything. So it was my heat treat school. It was for a Dana plant.
That's so cool. Did you do a lot of the calculations for the diffusion, for the carburization, or was that all kind of preset when you got there?
Yeah, pretty much it. It was the same product, so we we basically knew how to do it. We just did little tweaks depending on the material that we received. But I guess the science part wasn't the hardest one. The problems that the one I mentioned, for example, when something is stuck in a continuous furnace, it's a nightmare. It's horrible.
What was it usually due by? Just lack of PMs or just old equipment? Could have been anything. Yeah, parts falling. Yeah,
Yeah, mostly parts falling from the fixture
gotcha.
in the middle of the furnace. So it was a good school because there were so many people with so much experience that I learned a lot, a lot. That was my heat treating school.
Nice. So, what are you up to now? I tried to look at your LinkedIn and tried to understand what you were doing before I got on the call here. So, tell us, like, what is your role now with Heat Treat?
Right. Well, I work for a company called GTS where we focus on pyrometry. I've been doing this for the last 18 years. So our work is making sure the sensors, instrumentation, and the furnaces are doing what they are supposed to do.
Cool. So, what's your title there? Like, what's your kind of day to day?
Currently, I'm the managing director. So basically, I'm in charge of the operations in Mexico. We started this company 18 years ago with probably you are very familiar with the names of Nathan and Matt Wright.
Oh yeah, C3 Data.
Yeah.
Little shout out to them. Yeah.
Yes. Nate Wright is a founder of a pyrometry laboratory in the Midwest called TrueCal. So they decided that they wanted to explore Mexico. So I was his first customer in Mexico. So I really like their job and they really like mine. So after 1 year of coming back and forth from the US to Mexico and doing calibrations and doing pyrometry, they asked me to join them. And guess what? I said no.
Really? Why?
You know, it's a funny story. I was promoted. I was very recently promoted at that time when they offered me to start a company.
No kidding.
Uh,
So you stuck with the job instead of going with the yeah.
yeah, so I decided I was so honored, and it was really hard for me to reject the offer. But there was an opportunity for growing in the company that I was working for. It was Dana at that moment. So I continued learning, and then I discovered that that kind of work a little sucks a little bit. So I called these guys. No, I didn't call them. They were doing some calibrations down here in Mexico, and we went to dinner. And I asked Matt, "Hey, is the offer still on?" And
How much time has elapsed at this point, Victor?
1 year.
1 year. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
One miserable year for them because they were
I like it.
yeah, they were going back and forth from the US and Mexico every quarter. So it was miserable because they had to do a lot of work in just 1 week because we were not the only customers. They had grown the market. So it was crazy. So when I asked the question, Matt looked up to the skies and said, "Thank you, God." So
You turned around. Yeah, you came back.
yeah, now it's all yours.
Wow, they left it open for you.
Yes, yes. So I took it from there. Well, we were a one-man company back then. And back now, I feel really proud that we are the most respectful laboratory in
That's
Mexico.
awesome. So I want to dive into more of that like turning point for you because like this podcast, I'm really aiming it towards like again work sucking, but you having this realization that you like it and now you're like loving it, right? So walk us through like, wow, this is really sucking, and then that moment, aha, where it's like, wow, I want to go work with Matt and Nate, you know?
Right. That's interesting because I was enjoying a lot working in the heat treatment, and as I mentioned, I was learning a lot. But as you're familiar, sometimes the life work balance in manufacturing companies where, well, is complicated sometimes.
Long hours.
So
Yep, I gotcha.
yeah, you know how it is. So at the end, I decided, well, I'm gonna try, and let's jump in. I mean, it was a leap of hope. I didn't know what it was going to happen. Thankfully, I had a safety net, let's call it that way, because when I told my dad, I was very young then. When I told my dad about this, he told me, "Hey, just go for it. If it doesn't work, always call me."
Cool.
So that was cool.
That's cool, actually. No, your dad's supporting you through this. That's awesome.
I
So is
think
the work-life balance that kind of you said, wow, this is
Mhm.
not for me? And then what was appealing that Matt kind of sold you on? Like what was the
He never sold it. No. Well, the thing is, I remember the moment, the exact moment when I decided, uh, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life doing this. I remember having a big issue at the plant. So it was, I don't know, 10 p.m. I left the plant without solving the problem. I went to sleep. I woke up, I don't know, 5 a.m. and I was showering and thinking about the problem. Uh, got to work. I still didn't know how to solve it. But then I realized this is not the first time. I have always solved it, but I'm not sure if I want to do this the rest of my life, you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
Uh
yeah.
huh. Yeah. It was very stressful, very satisfying,
Did you feel
but
like you had
stressful.
support there? I guess like were you getting support from upper management from the team or was it just sort of a more of an internal thing you were like just kind of battling?
It was an internal thing. I did have a lot of support in the plan. I actually had the best mentors. That Dana plan at that time was one of the best in North America. Best in technology, best in experience. I was I would just say best. Um, but there was something that wasn't clicking with what I wanted.
Sorry, I want to really dive more into the clicking here. Like, what I guess click the work life, you're waking up at 5 a.m., you're feeling like you're not solving these problems. I guess when was the aha moment?
Aha moment. Well, in my particular case, was realizing when talking with a colleague at the plant. That was a very honest discussion. Who I actually told him the the offer that I received from Matt and Nate. And when I told him, he told me like, "Are you freaking nuts? Why
To
did
not take it?
Yeah, exactly." And I asked, "Well, why? Why do you think so?" Well, let me tell you a story, Victor, where my dad was just fired after working 30 years with this manufacturing company with nothing, just kicking the bottoms and go. I was young then, so I just said, well, that could happen anytime. I'm not sure if I want to go there. I mean, I was looking at myself like the quality manager or the plant manager. You know, I was very ambitious, uh, 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 but that made me realize, well, life doesn't work always the way you want. Things happen.
How do you, I mean, security is always on the mind of an employee, right? We're
Right,
working at a
right.
company. We're always thinking we're in it for the long haul. We want to be there till we retire. How do you feel now with your sense of security with what you do? I
Well,
know it can
that's
change every day, right?
you're right, right. It's different because now when you are in the other side, uh, the 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 safety net is gone. It really depends on you. Yeah, and at least I have 15 families that rely on my decisions. So when talking about pressure, well, you will think that having your own business is like having your freedom. Well, it doesn't work that like that. Yeah, yeah. The pressure is different, but the reality is that it really depends on you. You know.
So in those pressure moments, like what motivates you then? You're trying to feed, I guess, 15 families, like you said. I mean, what kind of motivates you to like push it through and keep things going and keep the security for you and your team?
Well, I really like what I do. I am very grateful that I found my passion. I think that what I like most about this work is that it matters. Heat treating might be sometimes invisible, but when you're thinking without it, the world stops. Cars aren't safe, airplanes can't fly. So I really take a lot of pride of what we do, or the little part that uh, we are in this industry.
So what made you love pyrometry? So again, for the audience here, the pyrometry spec, AMS 2750, is just getting more and more bonkers. Now we got random error to account for, and it's just like, but it's good, right? We need to have those kind of, limits and tolerances on things that are going, like you said, for the safety of planes and cars. Again, like I said when we started this podcast, like I love your LinkedIn. You're always so happy. I know behind the scenes sometimes you can get really upset with surveys and things like that. How do you make a something difficult like pyrometry, a challenging thing you do at work, fun?
Fun. Well, I like order, so I'm an order freak. So I'm a big believer in systems. So basically, my work with my customers is train our customers to document everything and create a system that works for them. You don't work for the system; the system works for you.
Can you give us an
Uh,
example of a system that you're talking about with a recent customer?
well, for example, you're very familiar with C3 data.
What?
That's a beauty. It is a beauty, and I cannot take any credit for C3 data, but at GTS we were the guinea pigs. So we tested that system for long. It was a long and hard process to have it just perfect. And Nathan, right? He wants things perfect. That's what we like about him. But it was miserable. Yeah, the sucking part. It was a lot of work. But again, it is really satisfying because now, well, before that, we had to do everything on paper. We had to use spreadsheets. You know how it is. And there's always the it's always scary because you know that even though you put all the systems, someone is going to screw it up.
Right. When you got humans, there's human error.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So it is frustrating. So many things that you put in place to make sure everything is going to be just right, but that is not going to happen. So that's a frustrating part.
So when you
So
work with other people, right? So
sure.
change is tough, right? You made a good point there with C3 data. When you use C3 data, everything is digital versus paper. How do you convince people to change? Because change can be hard, right? What's one of your techniques for when you go in? How do you change people to work the system?
You just said it. The biggest challenge of this industry is change. Uh, the world is changing so fast, but personally, I think that our industry is not changing at the same pace.
Oh, interesting.
That's my personal feeling, because exactly when we offer, we at GTS, we are integrators of C3 in Mexico. So when we told customers, hey, you want to do this, you can do it. I can give you the training, I can give you the tools, I can give you the software, and you will never ever have have to worry about this. But they are very, very skeptical. Very,
So
very,
how do you
very.
work through that with them? How do you work through the skepticism?
We just show them. We just show them.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's just look. We've been doing this for 18 years. Let me show you how we did it in the past and how we're doing now, and see all the benefits of taking this risk. I wouldn't call it risk because it's risk free, but again, it's about taking the leap.
No, that's cool. Yeah, when I train people on C3 now, I at a 10,000-foot view will say, "All right, we want in the TUS, file everything to be green. If it's red, it's not good. Make it green.
There
And
you
if you
go.
can't, call me." Right? So it's like make it very easy with the system today. So you made an interesting thing about our industry. So Victor and I work in the aerospace industry and heat treat. And what are your thoughts? What made you say that we're kind of lagging behind? I almost kind of feel similar. I want to hear what you have to say with that.
Yeah, I'm talking specifically about the heat treatment industry. I think we suffer the same issue that other industries may have. Like we've always done this job this way. This is the way it's supposed to be done. So don't move what is not crooked. So it's really hard to offer something new uh, to someone who doesn't want it. You know.
Like, what do you
Uh,
mean in terms of like C3 or NADCAP, or what do you mean? What are you thinking?
In general terms, in terms of technology and technology. So, for example, Nathan has a really cool story about his dad and a co-working inventing a system to measure dew point. It's a really nice history. The Wright family has a long story with heat treatment. So they were telling me about this apparatus that they used before. I think I saw it that they were pumping the gas and then fog forming, and they were checking the dew point. And they were telling me how hard it was for them to show an easier way to do it than pumping fog into a bottle of glass and measuring dew point when you can do it digitally. Or
So do you think it's like generate? And I don't mean to be like, because I'm a millennial, right? I don't know how old you are, Victor, but I'm 38 years old. So is it a generational thing that you find? There is kind of a gap in our industry, right?
It is. There is a gap.
I mean, with the auditors coming in, they're all retired, this and that, and then you got, again, you and me, trying to come up in the next generation.
I'll tell you another story. At one time, we were reps of a company that provides heat treating instrumentation. And we were working with a company try to sell a nitrogen methanol system for carburizing, and they were really fine with doing endo. And we were talking, hey, well, we can help you there. We can help you to automate the endothermic system. And the answer was, well, with this screwdriver, I have the control. All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah. Wow. These companies that you work for, I mean, I guess that they've been around for a while. Are we talking like the primes? Are we talking just small mom and pop shops? I'm just curious. We don't want to call anybody on the show, but just like the ballpark. Is it a big company, small company?
Right. That's the beauty about our work, because we work with a variety of companies. We work with OEMs, we work with tier ones, and we work also with commercial heat treaters. But we have so many different type of customers. Like, for example, we have like heaping customers. But last time I was talking about, I don't know how you call it in English, but how to carburize, solid carburizing with Coke in a box. I know you probably never heard it. Yeah.
No, I haven't. In a hip process?
Yes.
No kidding. That's cool, actually.
You pack the part with a lot of carbon and then put it in a box and then put it inside a furnace. And that's carburizing.
Yeah.
That's solid carburizing. And when I started GTS, I had a customer that had that process. So there's a lot of stuff still. And it's cool because you learn a lot of things. But that's exactly the problem, or the biggest challenge that I see in this industry. The hardest part is staying ahead of change. Standards evolve, technology evolves, and OEMs expect zero findings, zero errors, zero nothing. So that's the stressful part. But again, keeps me learning.
Cool. What does GTS stand for? Sorry, what does that actually stand for?
Global Thermal Solutions.
Perfect. How does Global Thermal Solutions anticipate change for the future? You say it's hard to, anticipate change. What are you guys doing to stay ahead of the curve, if you will?
Again, the nice part of having Nate and Matt right as our leaders is that they have vision. This C3 thing that I've been talking about was an idea that came to Nate and Wright, I think 20 or 30 years ago. But the technology was not ready. He wanted to do the same, but with a Palm Pilot. Do you remember that?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. The Newton?
No.
Yeah, personal assistants. Well, it's a technology, a very old technology from the 90s.
Gotcha.
We didn't have tablets. We have personal assistants. That's it. So it was very old. The internet wasn't fast enough. So sometimes we are limited by the technology. So we really want to go with the pace of the changes, of the evolution. I will express it like that.
Cool. Yeah. No, I like your point of like having leaders that are ambitious, right? So I've implemented C3 at 3 companies now, because I agree with you. I mean, it's all about systems and I want to make my life easy, right? So it's just, I want to, the other hard things to do during the job, especially when you're managing AMS 2750. So,
yes.
But Victor, I want to talk about, you mentioned work-life balance being a problem at your previous place before you entered GTS. How do you manage work-life balance now, right? Because surveys can take long, right? So
yes.
They can take all day depending on how many set points you got. So how do you manage work-life? Walk us through that.
You're right. This is the sucking part, especially when you're on the road, missing family. We spend a lot of time on the road, a lot. And you're right. Sometimes troubleshooting a furnace late at night. I remember when I started GTS being 24 hours straight, just trying to make a survey pass. It was a tempering furnace. It was a brand new tempering furnace that was out of tolerance. The uniformity was out of tolerance. Kind of a class 2 equivalent. It was for automotive, but it was an equivalent of a class 2. It was a brand new furnace, but the manufacturer didn't do anything to tune the furnace. So they just gave it to me and go.
Wow.
Yeah, it was challenging because I am a metallurgist. I'm not electronic. I don't have any background in electronic, but
right.
So
what did you do? I mean, that's an interesting thing. Again, I'm going to go back to the theme of work sucking. Here you are trying to figure it out. What did you do?
A lot of reading. A mentor once told me, when you have a problem with the furnace, just go to the plant, go to the floor, look at the furnace, and look at every single parameter that it's giving you. And then, a very simple advice, take the manual and read the manual. It is very simple, but I've seen so many young engineers that don't even do that.
Yep, they overlook that. 24 hours. How many set points? Sorry, I just want to explore that a little more.
Yeah,
That's like crazy. That's the longest survey I've ever heard of.
It was just one temperature, but it didn't work. Whatever
It
I
just
was
would
doing.
overshoot, or just the work zone was too big, or
No, it was an issue with the PID. So it was like this, go like that. And again, as a metallurgist, we don't see anything. We are not trained to do any PID tuning. So I had to learn the old way, screwing up.
yeah, hey, well, that's part of learning, you know?
Exactly.
Cool.
So now I don't do too much parametry now. I am more focused on training. So I spend most of my time training my team. That's a part that it helps me to stay grounded now, and it balance my life because now I have enough experience to teach other. So I try to make time to train my team. I also mentor younger engineers. I'm a volunteer in ASM International. You're familiar with that too. I do a lot of training for GTS Academy and other industrial associations. So I really, really enjoy a lot teaching. Uh, that is very satisfying, and that helps me to find balance in my life. And when I am not working, I try to disconnect. I like food, playing guitar. Yes, exactly, and then spending time with my family, and that what's keep me sane.
Cool. So one question for you, because you've been in the industry for a long time now. We're seeing you mentioned training younger engineers, and I guess I'm just going to call it out. Like, what's their work ethic like? How are you able to train these younger generation coming in? What are some of the challenges you're seeing with the younger workforce today? Because I'm definitely having some.
Right. I don't know where to start, but I think we all share the same struggle in the industry about the tolerance to frustration. Like I mentioned, sometimes work can be really stressful and especially frustrating. But well, we are used to keep working, keep grinding. For example, that furnace that didn't pass for 24 hours, I didn't quit. I just continue, and I don't find that same purpose. Uh huh. Yeah, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Suck it. Fuck it. Yeah, bye. I don't know. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. No, I find the same thing today. They just give up, you know, and it's like there's no motivation, no persistence, right, to keep going. And it's like, I feel like that's the skills that I'm trying to teach people is not give up, you know, and facing short-term failure, you know?
Right.
So, no, that's cool. Super insightful. So, Victor, I'd like to ask one more question. We can wrap up the show here. It's been a pleasure talking with you, learn about what you do. You mentioned a thing that I find super interesting today. So I hear a lot of people saying that, you know, I hate my job and I want to go do my own thing and run my own business. And you're on both sides now, right? You've worked at a job, if you will, and now you're still at a job, but you kind of run the business, right? So what would you say to someone that's looking to make that transition? Like, what would you say to that person? Maybe it's a younger version of yourself, like make the jump, you know, or not make the jump, and the pros and cons. What do you think?
I think I would say that just go for it. Uh, I think the main obstacle of younger generations is that they are trying to find happiness. And happiness, you are not going to find happiness. Happiness is going to find you. Happiness is the road, not the destination. Uh, and how do you find it? Just keep grinding.
I love it. I love it. I think we got to end on that note right there.
Fine.
That's perfect, Victor. Hey, man, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation. We learned that happiness is the road, and to find happiness, we just have to keep grinding. Hit that subscribe button for future content. If you want to be on the show, head over to the site, worksucksbutilikeit.com, shoot me a message, and with that, we'll see you next time. Thank you.